The Australian Stock Exchange has followed the US in clawing back ground after a record plunge. For months, analysts had been forecasting that financial markets were due for a correction after a long period of rising prices.
Advanced Australian shares up 0.7% today after 3 days of horror losses globally. The ASX rebounding after more than $90 billion was wiped from the local market yesterday.
It was overdue, probably needed, and maybe took some of the froth out of the market.
All key sectors showed gains today, with miners leading the way and energy, financials and healthcare also contributing. Asian markets also re-established some footing, but analysts say we're not out of the woods yet.
It might be difficult for the markets to trend higher immediately from here after this big sell-off that we had, but I think eventually, once the leverage is out of the market, we'll start to trend higher again.
Where an investor has a long-term perspective, they can just see through this. We just ride through this sort of noise.
While the message from Canberra has been measured.
The fundamentals of the global economy and the Australian economy are strong.
Let's take a medium-term view and not be too alarmist.
Investor nerves were calmed in Australia after the overnight results in the US. The Dow Jones recovered 2.3% after a seesawing day. Now, some US analysts say it's a picture-perfect correction. Others are urging vigilance.
There's no fundamental reason to expect a prolonged correction, or a particularly deep one for that matter. But be vigilant and pay attention to what's occurring and look at some of the telltale signs that everybody should be focusing on: interest rate, gold, US dollar.
After a long period of calm, the global sell-off was sparked by strong jobs numbers in the US, prompting concerns that interest rates there may rise more quickly than expected. The US Treasury focused on the long term.
And we believe that the policies that we've enacted, including tax reform, are very positive for long-term economic growth.
But markets remain jittery, wary of how the US Federal Reserve will act now the correction has set in. Darren Mara, SBS World News.